You take a look at the teams that are still in the Super Bowl hunt, teams like Philadelphia and Kansas City, or even teams that fell short that were projected to get there, like Baltimore, like Minnesota and Detroit, or even take a look at a team that exceeded everybody's expectations under a rookie quarterback, making a ton of noise during the regular season, getting to the playoffs. Of course, falling short under Bo Nix. Take a look at Denver. What do these teams all have in common? Well, they've got great offensive line. Of course, that opens up the playbook dramatically, not just in the passing game, but the running game. You take a look at what Detroit was able to accomplish in the running game, and of course, what Jared Goff is able to do when he's got all the time in the world, or even Philadelphia, what Saquon Barkley was able to accomplish this season, even Derrick Henry. And then you take a look at the Packers. The Packers have got a good offensive line, not a great offensive line. Imagine a great offensive line and the damage that Josh Jacobs could do out there. He's got the most yak yards out there. Imagine what it would look like if they quietly make a massive move in going and signing a guy like Drew Dalman from Atlanta, a guy that's going to be a free agent, has a huge PFF score here. Drew Dalman is one of those guys that could take this Packer offense from good to great. And as simple as getting a changing centers, because Josh Myers, although he was sorely missed when he was hurt and not in there, of course that was felt by that offensive line. He is not a great offensive line. In fact, heading into this season, we all knew that that was going to be the crutch of that offensive line. The Packers hoping that they had something in Monk, and time will tell whether that's going to be the case or not. But I love this article here that I read talking about Drew Dalman. It says right here in quotations, he's a psychopath. The Packers pegged to sign big upgrade for Jordan Love. Of course, that would be a huge upgrade because you talk about Jordan Love even having more time in the pocket to get done what he needs to get done there. Why is this dude called a psychopath? Well, Dalman, drafted in the fourth round in 2021, was the third center off the board. He quietly has become one of the most consistent performers in his position since stepping into a starting role in 2022. It says right here in quotations, Drew Dalman is a psychopath, according to Raheem Morris, the head coach of the Falcons. He says he's got two options in life. He could either be good at center, or man, I'd be worried about him. Morris continued to say that he's a perfectionist. He wants to be graded, and he wants to be graded hard. He wants to be graded at every snap that he has to Kirk Cousins, whether he's under the gun or under center. He's looking for more chemistry with this quarterback. He's always looking for perfection. I love hearing that. And I love what this goes on to say. It says Falcons offensive line has been anchored by Dalman, who's 26 years old. He ranked third out of 32 centers. Well, where did Josh Myers rank? Well, he ranked 30th. Okay, so when you take a look at having the third rated center as opposed to the 30th rated center, that takes the Packers offense to different realms, because when you've got more time in the pocket, Matt LaFleur is going to have more things to write up offensively. And then you've got just an even better run blocking offense under a guy like Drew Dalman. Okay, so the Packers currently, they've got a good offensive line. Let's take a look. You got Rasheed Walker, who I think is a really good left tackle for the Packers. I really like this guy. He seems to just get better as the season goes on. He's had a slow start this season, and then he just got better. He had an overall PFF score of a 68.3. Then you have Jenkins next to him. Jenkins is arguably a Pro Bowl type offensive line. He had a lower overall PFF score. He had some costly penalties for the Packers this season, but this dude is super, super good. In fact, you could probably label him next to Zach Tom, the most talented offensive line the Packers have got. And then you've got Sean Ryan, who filled in for the injured Jordan Morgan all season long. He stepped in pretty nice. He had an overall PFF score of a 62. Whether or not he retains that job remains to be seen, but that's going to be a nice competition to watch between him and Jordan Morgan. Of course, the more competition you've got, the better. Zach Tom had a huge PFF score of 87.6. How that guy didn't make the Pro Bowl is a mystery to me. And then you've got Josh Myers. at an overall PFF score of a 55.3, and then imagine replacing that with Drew Dalman at 78.8. That takes this Packer offensive line from good to great. And then you've got a sneaky guy in Jordan Morgan, where it's just like, okay, the Packers saw tons of potential in this guy out of Arizona. They snagged him where they did in the first round. There was rumors that Commanders were going to trade up to try to get Jordan Morgan ahead of Green Bay, and then the Packers get him. And then the rest is history. Of course, we all know the injuries that this dude sustained all season long. But this is a diamond in the rough for the Packers because this could be easily forgotten about. Same thing with Marshawn Lloyd. We don't know what we've got in that guy, but that is one of those uh, tools in the belt that the Packers are looking forward to seeing what they've gotten it upcoming this season for this offense. But you've got Jordan Morgan, who's going to be pushing for that starting left guard position ahead of Sean Ryan, and remains to be seen who's going to win that battle. But imagine the Packers offense if they were to go and get and sign Drew Dalman. Now he's going to come with a price tag there. We all understand that and know that. And Brian Gutekunst knows that he's got a lot of money to play with this offseason, and the Packers could have tons of extra money depending on how they play their cards and how they shuffle around some money. Of course, we've already talked about that with the cap space and all of that, but I really like this potential of going and getting a guy like Drew Dalman, a guy that is not a sexy signing for by any means, but when you take a look at how important offensive lines are in this league and how good Detroit looked this season and all the time that Jared Goff had and how good Philadelphia looks this season and all the time that they have in Saquon Barkley and the holes that have been open for him. The Packers have already got a talented running back in Josh Jacobs. We already know that. We understand that. We've seen that. So I think this would be a monster move for the Packers to go and get, again, a quiet signing, and it wouldn't come cheap. The Packers would have to spend some money to go and get Drew Dalman, but I think this would be a huge, important signing for the Packers. Leave your comments on this one, and as always, go Pack Go.